I burn my narcotic past.
In autumn 2012, when people actively predicted the end of the world, 8 hardened drug addicts have experienced their rebirth. Embraces, greetings and tears of happiness. That day had become the happiest in their lives. No one wanted to recall their past. Each one needed 40 days for a mystical rebirth. The 40 days of hard working and fight against drug addiction. The priceless efforts and professional work of doctors. But the most difficult challenge was yet to come. You can plan. Today is Monday, tomorrow is Tuesday, and on Saturday or Sunday, I'll go there or there. Before, I could never plan my activities in advance. I could never plan my vacations. The way I lived was like getting up in the morning and bang, bang. And the next day, it repeated again and again. A year after the treatment, Victor Malak ironically recalls his bang-bang living style and heroin that substituted his breakfasts and dinners. Thrice a day, a gram of heroin per day, for sure. A former professional boxer had 3 convictions and 10 years of heroin addiction. A 5-year-old daughter in Lviv who had almost lost her hope that their family can be happy again.
To me, this is the last hope.
Christina made a decision to accompany her husband. An accompanying person is called there a codependent.
We often hear the words from the relatives of the patients like he has no willpower and he's very weak at heart. His father and I think that he can stop taking drugs. Eventually, in reality, during the very treatment, relatives may witness of the process of rehabilitation and change their attitude towards addiction. Relatives start realizing the harshness and difficulty of the whole process. They learn that hardened symptoms of the sickness can be released with great effort of doctors as well as a strong will of the patient. They learn and understand the medical aspects of treating the addiction and realize the importance of medical assistance during withdrawal syndromes. After witnessing a complete rehabilitation process, their perception and attitude towards treatment and sick itself changes totally.
The psychopathological symptoms are reducing, we have positive dynamics. How he deals with cravings now. Yesterday he caught himself thinking, I don't even remember about my cravings. This is the river where I would like to fish. A bit further down, the nude beaches. Victor Malak is showing us around his town. Just in 1 year after the treatment, Victor admits that he gained something he lacked and dreamed of, the freedom from fears and self-confidence. No, I don't feel like I need to control myself. Earlier, while waking up in the mornings, I was afraid to relapse. I tried not to go out much, in order not to get tempted to take drugs again. I was afraid to meet my old friends who still do drugs. Now I can go anywhere I feel like. I'm no longer afraid even if somebody will offer me a dose of heroin. I'm confident in myself and no longer want it. You know, I became indifferent to drugs. When Victor tried to fight the addiction himself, he drank alcohol in order to release pain and cravings. One sickness substituted another, and the result was always the same. There was a fear that now he's an alcoholic when he stopped. I thought to myself, all my bodies are drinking, why can't I do the same? We drink when we go fishing, we drink when we go out. How am I going to communicate with them if I am on a different level? Do I have to get new friends, or shall I just freeze at home? I try to drink alcohol-free beers, but it's a waste of money. There is no euphoria. I remember drinking a lot of energy drinks like Red Bull. I was kind of into them. Now I'm no longer into these sorts of drinks. Victor Malak recalls his trip to Bishkek with pleasure and a smile on his face. There was no such a feeling that you're in a serious hospital. Out of 40 days of treatment, only one is still in his head. 8 minutes left, not 8 years, not 8 days, not 8 hours, only 8 minutes. Raise your hands up. I'll feel tremor. 5 minutes left. Come on, Victor. You have to believe in yourself. Let it go. Don't hold to it. You're a serious man. You're the man, stronger. Go, go, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, go, go. Good of you. Nazaraliev's voice is still in my head.
Adrenaline.
We cause a strong adrenaline rush where other forms of hormone system are also engaged. The whole organism is renewed. That is why right after the stress-energetic psychotherapy, the patient is weakened and feels the lightness. Victor Malekil was competing for the boxing championships in Germany, which used to bring him fame. But the real fame came after the reality project Dr. Life was aired. Now journalists write articles about him, take interviews, and what is more important, people who need advice in life address to him in order to learn more about the treatment he went through. And the most common question is it worth it? They want my advice if it is worth it. For my personal experience, it is worth it.
I became much positive. Before, I didn't even feel like smiling. My friends used to say that I'm overloaded with problems. Now I want to live my life in full.
I just finished building a summer house. We've accomplished a lot since returned home. For the past year of his new life, Victor realized the most important thing. Now he has nothing to hide from his daughter and wife. Now he can start planning his objectives, and he knows that everything is in his hands. I often think about the guys I remember, Tolik, Andrei and Gleb. I wonder how they are feeling right now. The life has separated them. Gleb came to pay a visit to Andrei Khrushchev. A year after the show has been finished, the conversation was not well balanced. One could not recognize the most active and willing participant of the project in this tired person. The biggest part of the year is spent in hospitals. Regardless of my fatal disease and the fact that I have completely demolished my organism with drugs, my life has changed to better. It has completely changed. Andrei had spent half of his life, almost 16 long years, taking drugs, which eventually and completely destroyed his immune system. His days started and finished always the same with a dose of heroin. During the breaks, he would always be in a desperate search for money. Day after day, the only thought that comes to your mind when you're waking up, where shall I get the money? I have to argue with my parents again? Where can I buy the drugs? Andrei's wife was the one who found out about the clinic of Dr. Nazaraliev. 7 years of struggle, Andrei's addiction and the absence of money have become a true challenge for her.
I noticed that his eyes were like glass, strange. Later, when I started finding syringes, I realized what the problem was.
She was called the wife of Decemberist. She was always by his side and never lost belief in Andrei even during the times when he stopped believing himself. I don't fucking need this treatment anymore. Baby, if you want to leave, just tell me. Just let me know. I'm not stopping you. I understand everything. Even for professionals, a patient with a large heroin experience and destroyed immune system is a difficult task. Nevertheless, problems are always solved here. Andrei Khrushchev, 33, Moscow, he was admitted to our clinic on the 6th of September. This addiction experience is 15 years. The system, 10 out of them. Maximum dose, up to 6 grams per day, extremely hardened patients medically. What is the condition of his liver and spleen? Splenomegaly, portal hypertension suggests that this is a liver cirrhosis. Each episode evoked massive emotions and comments from the viewers. Andrei was changing in front of the viewers' eyes. After a month of intensive treatment, we could not recognize the man with sparkling eyes. Looking back, what would you say? I was blind in my past life. It was empty. Do you feel the difference? Silly question, I'm sure you know the answer. I did not feel anything like it. The miles of exhausting pilgrimage caused the physical pain, yet returning the belief in the strong willpower.
Hello. Give me a hug.
A year ago, they both thought their most difficult task was accomplished. However, the hardest period in life was yet to come.
We began noticing that Andrei started losing weight rapidly. One day he felt sick. We called an ambulance. Doctors diagnosed him with TB. Later they said the diagnosis was incorrect, and he now has a sickness called microbacterios caused by dirty water or animals.
In the last 6 months, Andrei has been to several hospitals. He was lucky to be home for only 2 weeks. 6 more months of heavy treatment is ahead. The price for drug abuse appears to be very high. Even there is no desire for it any longer. I haven't been even interested in drugs anymore, but the complications with health caused by my past life have begun anyway.
We're not giving up. Unfortunately for Andrei, the time to pay for his past mistakes has come.
She was always there when he injected, when suffered withdrawal syndrome, when he was about to give up, and when eventually he overcame his addiction. Now she's just waiting for him to return home.
Right now we're trying to bring him back the face for his full recovery. Support him and hope everything will be fine. I know it will be.
Katya realized that returning to Magadan is equivalent to death. She could hardly call life her last 10 years there.
Last month I wept. I thought that we were hopelessly living our last days. No one will ever help us. We're stuck in narcotic life forever.
The apartment where Anatoly and Ekaterina live could serve as a visual example for those who want to know what it is to be at the bottom of life. Here we cooked desomorphin for the last 3 years. Here's Katerina. Here's the room where we prepare drugs. Look, what happened to her. A few times in this dreadful apartment, Anatoly tried to commit suicide, and Ekaterina left all her dreams of having a happy life and becoming a stewardess here. Last autumn, they left this place together in order to fly to Bishkek. They wanted to see the man whose name was known even in their god-forsaken village. Hello, welcome. Hello, Katerina. Ekaterina now lives in St. Petersburg. She works hard and doesn't like to talk about her past. Nowadays, when the citizens of Petersburg remember the times of a great blockade during the World War II, Ekaterina recalls the blockade which she had to experience nowadays. When drugs enter the human body system, it restructures the metabolism. The homeostasis totally changes. When the addict stops taking psychoactive substances, the entire nervous system begins to resent. In other words, it explodes. The nervous system is no longer controlling the organism through endocrinal system. When it happens, we block one part of the nervous system and allow the other part to fully engage in work. Such hormones and elements as catecholamine, dopamine, norepinephrine begin to produce as much as necessary. Besides physical challenges, each patient had to complete a psychological rebooting. Katerina was barely coping with the load, but Anatoly was always by her side, supporting her in this uneasy work. If you'll become a stewardess, will you fly away from me?
Stop talking nonsense. I don't want to lose you.
They believed in him from the beginning. Strong and confident, in his challenge he proved to his colleagues and to himself that this was the last chance, which he will never miss. Here, each participant had to conquer himself. There are no winners in this sort of contest. He was the first one who step by step eventually came to the foothills of the Salvation Mountain, Tashtarata. Came as another man, as a new man. First year without drugs was difficult for Katya. Fortunately, Dr. Live taught her not to give up.
As Nazaraliev was saying, the sun comes up and goes down. I get under a blanket, wait until sun comes up again, and everything is fine.
Some techniques, maybe.
Yes, when we were introduced to Minecrafting, there were specially designed breathing techniques, the best thing.
Well, you were actively practicing those techniques.
Not systematically, but when I fell down, yes, I repeated them.
Remission is a vital key of the treatment. After the treatment is complete, it is very crucial that psycho-emotional and hormonal state of the patient are returned to the normal level and sustained that way. During the whole year, our patients must practice Minecrafting. First, this is the breathing techniques, which help to expand the consciousness of the patient, releasing stress, ridding off anxiety and depression, which are the main threats for relapse. If our patients systematically continue to practice Minecrafting, chances for a complete recovery are higher and the patient is successfully exiting that dangerous period of remission. Anatoly never returned to Magadan, and for the past year, he found a new job in Moscow Metro Stroy and read from beginning to end a story of a Russian classic, Mikhail Bulgakov. During summer, he came to the clinic again, but he is codependent. He brought his friend. He's my classmate. Back in high school, together we tried light drugs. He was also my first companion when we committed our first crime. A year ago, he was cooking drugs, knew how to provide a first aid if overdose occurred, and could never look at his mother's eyes. Today is the first time when he felt that he is truly helping someone. He was preparing drugs. People like that are valid in the junkie circles and never let out in the game with ease. He did the right thing. He made the step. He changed his habitat and moved away. Now lives in a different city.
Этот шаг он грамотно поступил, что сменил место жительства, полностью разорвал с наркосредой.
In 2 months, Anatoly will quit his job and return to the clinic again. Hard work without holidays seems unbearable. He tells doctors about the fears which do not let him sleep at night.
Периодически начало сниться, и все, тревога появилась.
I have these horror dreams systematically. I also became anxious. I know I had a deal with my mom, the dearest person in my life, that if I start to crave again, we'll contact my doctor together and we'll solve these problems together. I told her we discussed this and we called the doctor. The doctor said that I had to come to the clinic.
I'm glad that you have decided to come. You were not substituting cravings with alcohol either, which is very good. Were you glad to see how all doctors greeted you with small and embraces?
Our main mission is to provide a patient with confidence for tomorrow. First, we release physical discomfort. Later, we provide psychological rehabilitation. At the final stage, we have to explain and try to provide confidence that our patient will be able to reintegrate into society and socialize normally. We have to convince our patient that there is a strong and confident person.
It was dreadful. When I think about my past, it sucks. It is scary. I don't even dare to think returning to my past. Never.
Katerina and Anatoly live in different cities now, but they keep in touch in their new lives. We knew little about Irina's destiny after she left the project. After she decided to quit her pilgrimage ahead of time, she returned to her small town near Moscow City and completely avoided our television team, never answering our phone calls.
I didn't avoid you. I just came here and got disappointed in everyone. No one met me at the station at 11 p.m. I came to visit my grandmother, and she didn't even ask me how I felt. She just handed me the key and sent me to an empty apartment.
Have you tried to find a job?
Yes, I did. I don't feel like it's mine. I don't need it. My husband is soon to be released from prison, that's it.
Irina was telling us that her husband, who is a drug addict with a big experience, initiated her trip to the clinic of Dr. Nazaraliev. She was the only participant who came along, with no support.
In this situation, the support of a close person plays a crucial role. Observing the treatment process, observing the patient, they change their perception and become our associates.
The most important person in her life, her husband, was away. Her 9-year-old daughter was left with their relatives. Irina's motivation was doubtful from the very beginning of her arrival.
She has a husband, Sasha. I think that if you eventually decided to get the treatment, you have to go to the clinic together. There is no point of going alone. What is the point for her to wait for him to be out of prison? Fatima asked her if she tried it. She said yes, a couple of times. Maybe she's lying. Irina Anisimova, she came alone from Moscow. Her first drug is marijuana at the age of 16. Until now, she has been taking drugs episodically. She has no directives whatsoever. She wants to try.
How is she going to succeed without motivation? Irina completed first stages of treatment, became more sociable and confident. However, as soon as she began pilgrimage, she realized that she won't be able to complete it.
I can't take it anymore.
Let's take a rest. How's your heart rate? Let me check. Little bit left until the mountain pass.
10 kilometers. I don't feel like continuing any longer. This is much stressful than when I had a withdrawal syndrome. When I have cravings, I have a goal, but here I see no point of suffering. I don't need this.
Have you ever given yourself a promise to do something?
A promise? No, never.
Irina, people struggle and suffer in order to prove themselves and to the closest ones that they can overcome difficulties.
I don't want to prove anything to anybody. To whom?
To yourself, not to others.
I proved to myself long time ago.
Take your stuff, we're going.
Okay, bye.
Come here. Come here, okay?
Some of the patients were told to return and continue treatment, including Irene.
Irina's husband will be out of prison in 1 month. This is her motivation and goal number one to begin a new life. She believes that if they were together a year ago, things would have turned differently for her.
All of this is happening because I see no way out. I have no support. No one needs me. No one believes in me. If he will start taking drugs again, then this is it. Either he will die or go to jail again. Yana, my daughter, understands it all. She interprets it with her own little kid's words, but she understands it all. If it happens, she will be shattered.
Irina has no interest whatsoever to the participants of the project. There is only one person about whom she is ready to speak.
The Italian, he has old parents. His situation is also not to be happy about. He is not that young and has nothing to live for. His organism is sick. All he does is talking, talking, talking. That's all he can do. Nothing else. All he has is empty words. In such circumstances, it's difficult to start family, to plan kids.
A person with a loud nickname, a good speech and uneasy personality was competing from the first day of the project for the best spot in front of video cameras. For instance, if you have a debt to collect, let's say $1 million debt, you can ask us for help to collect it. Hello, my dear. Hello, bro. Why say they took us to the mountains? We laid personal plates. You know, as they show in movies, the stones with our souls. Well, yeah, destinies. They film us everywhere and interview us also. I always wear a microphone. Just in a couple of weeks, he got new enemies on the project. You avoid the direct responsibility and answer. I tell you, this is a person who knows and respects prison laws. You avoid the direct responsibility and answer. Become a living illustration of the eternal conflict between fathers and sons. If you're afraid of something, then just shut the fuck up. I'm not afraid. When I'm correct, I'm not afraid. When I'm right, I'm not afraid. You're the one who licks butts all the time. I don't care. If I'm right, I'll speak it out. Fuck you. Go and tell it to your friends. Shut up, I'm telling you. After receiving a prohibited substance from an ugly black man with his car, the Italian almost got dismissed from the project.
How did it
A
happen?
huge black guy with cars came to me and decided to give me a present. What is true here and what is lie? 40 years old, 5 times previously sentenced Italian, did not understand clearly himself. However, after the treatment he tried to make plans for the future. I will run my own business. At the moment I am at the high security correctional facility in Tver city. Thanks God it's not far away from Moscow. Nobody is happy in prison. Here we are limited. There are a mass of things which we can do outside prison while being free. Look guys, there are only 2 ways. If you choose drugs, it's either prison or cemetery. I'm lucky to be here in prison. He was sentenced to 3.5 years for the 6th time in his life. This is the luck. I got outdoors, they got into my pocket and found a roll. The roll was heroin. Well, it happens. Black guy, you say? The black guy whose cars last time it was marijuana and now it's heroin. We cannot take responsibilities for his actions. Human psychology is a very specific structure. 5 minutes one thing, another 5 minutes other things. We all do we can give. The successful treatment not only depends on doctors. To receive that help or not to receive it, the individual decision of each patient. If patient is not open and gives no feedback, it is a waste of time and effort. Neither Italian nor Irene returned to the clinic to complete the treatment. Eventually, one of the youngest participants, Gleb, decided to use this opportunity. I came here only because I promised to Dr. Nazaraliev that I will come back and complete pilgrimage. Otherwise, I feel okay now, and I think that I already got treated back then. And I even feel that I can safely fly home now. A year ago, a 23-year-old Gleb have also decided it was time for him to go home. He broke his stone during the pilgrimage and rushed towards America using shortcuts.
Gleb, what are you doing? How can you do something like that?
Guys, stop all of you because we have the most flagrant violation here. Gleb threw away his stone and took another one. Such behavior demonstrates your attitude toward doctors and a whole team of professionals who have been working with you from the very beginning. This is actually an ignorant attitude towards yourself, what is more important. And if you don't want to change your life, well, obviously you don't. Why is that? Because of the stone, I do not want to change my life? Well, we wish you luck and saying goodbye to you right now. Gleb has made his choice. In Seattle, a favorite hobby, drifting, was waiting for Gleb, something he's really professional at. Here's my garage, this is my racing car, Nissan Silvia. It is approximately 250 horsepower, and this one is about 600 horsepower. New temptations, which for several years have stopped him from getting the championship titles, continue to appear. Less than a year after surprising for all, he will appear in the clinic again and announce that now he's ready to complete the challenge. Many were against your coming here. They still are. But we decided to give you another chance. You're alone. If you will complete the pilgrimage, you win. If you will fail, you lose, and you will have to find another ways of salvation. He meant to complete his last and the most difficult stage, the pilgrimage. Very crucial was to understand what went wrong the last time in order not to repeat the same mistake. Thus, special attention was directed to his motivation. Ahead are the several days of hard way to face with personal fears and thoughts. Only now a true understanding of what is happening crosses his mind, and he tries to understand himself. Honestly, I do not really feel like doing it, but I will do it to prove everyone, to prove myself and to my parents. I want them to be happy. Finally, the most difficult challenge is accomplished, and now Gleb has to evaluate his first mental act. The importance and impact it reflected not only his family or friends, but on himself. After completing my treatment, I realized that I don't want to return to that swamp again. The world is huge. I have to create and form my life, connections, and starting points. And now I have to develop to go further up in life. The idea of going up in life was considered by X literally. Each day, he goes higher and higher. Industrial alpinism. We insulate apartments. First time I climbed the 6th floor. It scared me a lot. Heights. What the hell? Let's do it. I got there, secured myself, and everything went just fine. Now I'm working at the 11th floor. Always scary, but as long as you are fully secured, all you have to do is complete your job. I don't have cravings at all. Alex is one of the participants by looking at whom one would never even assume that has a long time of heavy alcoholism and 12 years of drug abuse experience with multiple overdoses. Quiet, little shy, he never joined arguments, preferring to wait aside. From here, the rest of the group has assigned to him weakness, absence of willpower, and lack of confidence. I cannot tell you that you're a tough guy, a guy with a strong willpower. You seem weak. Feel weak and not confident, actually. You're like that from your childhood? After comments, I lost totally. Well, you came like that, actually. Yeah. Do you feel like you're lost in life? If you have a tough conversation with your patient, you're modeling him from inside. A psychotherapist must know the patient from inside out and pick the moments when he is lying. This is when you understand that he has formed a psychological protection, and you have to explain that you understand his maneuvers for self-protection. Doctor with a strong authority makes patient to realize that he is read like a book. Patient is convinced with what doctor says. and the correction of psychic state of the patient begins. Importantly, that our final result, the complete rehabilitation of the patient, is attained.
идет коррекция психики. И это считается нормально. Конечный результат был гуманный. То есть, чтобы больной дал быстро его получил, ощущение свободы.
After the course of treatment, the Consilium doctors have decided to send Alex home. He had to learn to live under new circumstances, and 6 months he had to return to the clinic.
Now he is thinking whether he shall be returning to clinic after the medical vacations or not. Everything seems fine in his life lately. All his stresses and reasons, which caused him to take drugs in the past, are drawn to minimum. He does not take any pills or medications.
Они тоже сошли на нет. Он сейчас не принимает поддерживающее лечение, занимается спортом, работает.
Instead, he does sports, works, and tries to build his personal life. Will he be returning to our clinic to continue his treatment or not? We will learn later.
Этого будет ему достаточно для дальнейшей жизни. Мы увидим через несколько месяцев.
I was neurotic after all this. It was very difficult. I could hardly adapt to situations or circumstances in my life. It was difficult to communicate with new people. I could never go clubbing without alcohol. He's trying to learn the process of his treatment very carefully and adjusting himself to maximum. He was fortunate to get a job right after he left the clinic and started to reintegrate himself within society. He never lost connection. He's also very responsible. He's a great specialist and his company values him. Alex started his first business when he was 18. He ran his own mechanic's office. Back then, drugs ruined it all. Now, he's working in a serious construction company. In the future, Alex plans to gather his own team of specialists and work independently. To live clean, that's high, you know? You're getting pleasure from life without wasting your health or money for bullshit. That's cool. I never thought I could enjoy my life like this, and I do enjoy it. Alex now has passion for motorcycles. He enjoys high speed. When I want to get high, I take my bike. None of the drugs can compare to this feeling. You draw all the attention from the boys on the streets. The speed on the bike is much faster than in the car. 120 horsepower. The weight of the bike is only 200 kilograms. Can you just imagine what it is like? I look at the speedometer and indicate 280 kilometers per hour, you know? It takes 7 minutes for me to get to the sea. At this point, Alex does not have a long-term plan. Slowly, he starts believing that there is a life without drugs. The real life, full life, with ups and downs. I do things which I had never done before. I do good things now. Recently, I donated my blood. I hope it will help somebody. I gave half a liter. God saved me, yeah. That means someone needs me. For several weeks that patients spent in the clinic, each learned how to deal with inner self. Each got the instrument which will help them to build a new life. However, to become a professional constructor can only a person with a strong willpower. A person who had a chance to look over the fence will want to do it again. We may not speak about 100% of successful treatment of each patient. A human neurological system is not always controlled and stable. However, to be able to provide a good remission, we call it professionalism. From stone to stone, from heart to heart, let these hands be drug-free forever. Wait for me. Tashtarata.